All good, man. All good.
Yeah.
So,
What we doing?
Scott
The kind of
Blake,
stuff that we want
the man, the myth, and the legend, dude.
to.
It's good. It's good to get you on here. I'm excited to talk to you. It's always fun talking to Scott Blake.
Sure, man.
You always got something going on, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here,
So,
man. It's birthday month is coming up, so I decided, I was sitting there, man. I looked in the mirror one day, and I was like, oh, it's like trouble. Because, I've been playing GTA and, sitting on the couch and doing that kind of stuff, right? So I happened to look over at my man bod, and I was like, oh, man. But I got 10 days to my birthday, so I told the wife, look, man, every day for the next 10 days, we're going to get up, run a mile, work out for about an hour, try to eat healthy all the way to my birthday. No excuses and no days off. So
I
far,
hear you, man.
I'm on track. I was supposed to get up and run this morning. Didn't do it this morning, so as soon as we get done with this here, I'm going ahead and get my little mile in, a little gym
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I actually went to the gym today because I knew I was talking to you. No, I did. I went and worked out today, buddy. I had to get it in.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna talk to Scott Blake. This dude is probably up at 2 a.m. working out, looking at the wall, doing the David Goggins, the whole nine, man.
No.
That's what I remember. Scott
Yeah.
was always that guy. But yeah, man. So let's tell everybody, how has retirement been for you? Tell me how it's going.
Oh, let's see. Where do I start? Well, first thing first, man. Retirement with a good wife is good. Uh, you know, my the last part of my military time, man, and getting married and all that fun stuff, man. It's like we're still in that beginning phase, man. So it's my best friend. We talk, we laugh, we joke around, we work out together. You know what I mean? So it made the transition really easy. I will say, man, I have my dreams, man. I still dream like I'm in the military. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is, all of my dreams are pretty much the same. It's like I'm somewhere, something's about to start, but I don't have the right uniform on. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't have, I can't remember the combination to get in, or you know what I'm saying? Like I'm always behind,
Yeah.
trying to figure out where I'm supposed to be and how did I get to this point. And you wake up,
Mhm.
man, sometimes, and it's like, jeez, man, this is crazy. But that's pretty much the most part of it, man. Is that that part? I think it's because I miss a lot of it. Um, so you kind of still feel like you're there. But other than that, man, as far as the retirement part goes, man, I have a lot of time, man, now to like to sleep and not feel like, like you're on a time crunch. I think that.
Yeah, no, the time crunch is gone. I'll tell you this. I don't have those dreams anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man, I'm not dreaming that I'm anywhere in the Navy trying to figure out what's going on, or something needs to be done, something needs to be fixed. You know how it was, man. We were
Mhm.
in, and if it needed to be fixed and it needed to be
Right.
brought to completion, they went to the same few guys all the time.
Right.
I have different dreams now. That's why I'm doing this with you. That's why I'm talking to people in a podcast. That's why I'm going out of that comfort zone, right? Like I've never been the type of guy that is in front of things,
Right.
right? But now I'm like, I'm just going to talk to people and put it on there, see what happens.
Right. 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 Right.
People listen to it, that's great. If you don't, that's great too. If you
Right.
have a problem with it, change the channel. Like it doesn't matter, but my I don't know, my bounds and goals are different now that I'm out. I feel like I look at opportunity from a bigger picture nowadays. So what I mean by that is the sky is the limit truly now. I'm not held back by rules. I'm not held back by regulations. I'm not held back by um, the things that you would normally think about when we were in, right? We could have a ton of ideas. We could go do a ton of things. But at the end of the day, you still had somebody to answer to, and there's still a rule that you had to follow. So nowadays, doing this and running around doing all the things I'm doing for work to help veterans through mortgage lending and things like that.
Mhm.
I work with people, but I still am building my own thing, which is a great thing. So now I get to make all those decisions.
Yeah.
Back when we were like, I think that's a good idea, and then everybody was like, well, you can't do it.
Right. We got to get approvals.
I don't got to listen to that no more.
Yeah.
I just do it.
Yeah. What do you think this person gonna say about that? What do you think he's going to say if we run this by him?
Yeah. So there's freedom to that,
Yeah.
right? Freedom to that. And so that's what I enjoy. I do sometimes, think about being in, and there's things that I miss, but I'm in a
Mhm.
good place, man. I'm enjoying the afterlife right now. It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Well, one thing I can always say though, Matt, to the time that I've known you, man, you've always been, you know, taking care of people, man. So I think this is right up your alley as far as things that keep you to being true to who you are. Because I can name several times, man, where it'd be like somebody needed training or somebody needed that one on one or somebody needed something. And they'd be like, man, Matt, I'll walk by the hallway. You're always in there, man. Just what I'm saying, doing what Matt does. So,
Yeah.
I remember when we talked about even transitioning to real estate and stuff like that. And I was telling you, I said, man, I think you'd be pretty good at it, man. Just how you move around. But I was the one that originally was supposed to be doing it first. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
talked
Yeah.
about it, and he was like, you know what? Kind of saw the little light go off in there, man. And then now here you are, saying moving and grooving. But, sometimes you see things and you see certain people that that just, prosper and be good at certain stuff, man. But you've always, since I've known you've been a people person, like trying to take care of people, make sure other people are good. So it's a plus and a negative of that, right? Because from the outside seeing that, you see somebody who's always trying to take care of other people. You often wonder sometimes, like, is Matt taking care of Matt? Because how does he have time to take care of him when he's always fixing and making sure that this is correct and making sure that the slides are up and making sure that everybody has their stuff and hey, buddy, I need your slides. You know what I mean?
Look, man, that's called lack of sleep, right? Lack of sleep. But
Yeah.
here's the crazy thing, man. I do more now
Mhm.
than I ever did, I think, in the Navy. But I think the overreaching thing of that is, I don't know, Sky. That's how I. What do they say? That's how I roll.
Right. Right.
I can't do anything big
Mhm.
selfishly. I think that's
Right.
I try to teach my son that. I try to teach my daughter that. I try to talk about stuff like that with people all the time. I'm a huge believer, and that's why I'm doing the mortgage loans for veterans now, because who I work with, the team I'm on, it's not about how much money you make. We don't
Mhm.
even care, and I never have. Like, I don't worry about what that's going to look like. It sounds crazy sometimes, but I don't worry about it because I know that if I help people and take care of people, you know, people say that nice guys finish last and bad things happen to good people, and I just don't believe that. I
Right.
believe that if you do the right thing by people, no matter what,
Right.
it's going to come back around to you. It may not be
Absolutely.
today, it could be in years from now, but it helps, and it's just that's the thing. I saw you and there was a couple of other guys when we were in that were like, "Oh, I'm going to go get this license." And I used to laugh, dude. I was like, "Why are you going to go do
Right.
that?"
Right. Right. Why would you do something
And
like
go right into the same
that? Same kind of stuff.
craziness that you're doing right now.
Right.
Well, I got out. I started looking for jobs, and the more interviews I went on, the more times I was told that I was overqualified
Right.
to be your trainer, to be your recruiter, to business development, whatever you were telling. I'm overqualified.
Mhm.
Also known as, you're a threat to me and I don't want to lose
Right.
my job.
Right.
That's how I took it every time.
Yeah. You coming in here is gonna mean I'm gonna be heading out of here pretty soon.
And everybody experiences that in their own way. And that's what my experience was. Now, there's other guys that don't experience that. There's a ton of our guys from we were with. They love Amazon, and that's cool.
Right.
Go work with them. It's all good. But what I did when I got out, a couple months after I got out, I made the decision. I'm tired of working for somebody.
Mhm.
Easiest way for me to not work for anybody was to do that. Go get a real estate license. And then, because of what I did there and how I functioned, gave me the opportunity of what I'm doing now. So it's like, again, I just keep doing what I'm doing, man. I take on so many things, dude. College and sports and all the different stuff. But
Yeah.
if you slow down and do nothing, you're going to be bored.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's how I
And
look at it.
yeah, you got to keep on moving, man. Like I'm
Yeah.
still always big into like community stuff, man. I went and got certified to do coaching. So I want to coach these kids, man. Basketball, baseball, football, whatever it is, man.
Yeah, man.
My kids are doing good in sports, so that's always a plus, but they're out of state. So I just wanted to stay connected in that realm, man. You always want to, I guess it's kind of like, what do you leave behind, man? And growing up without having dad in the house and stuff like that, man, and you just know how that feels, or not having that person that can give you that push. You know what I'm saying? To give you the push to be where you need to be. Like I remember playing basketball in high school and stuff, man, and I had it, but I didn't have somebody that tell me like, this is what you need to do, or these are what you need to look at. You know what I mean? So you see in other kids developing and moving around, and you don't really necessarily have that kind of guidance, man. It's like, all right, what do you do after this? You know what I mean? So I know there's a lot of kids and stuff that's out there like that might just need somebody to push them, or just be there for them and give them that extra. That's just something I've always liked to do, man. So trying to get into that a little bit, and then DJing is always great. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the one part where I feel like I'm in control of people's happiness in a sense. You know what I mean? Like I get a extreme pleasure out of seeing people have a good time. You know what I mean? Whether if it's coming by the house or
Oh, I know.
where I
Oh,
love
I know.
it.
Very familiar. But here's the thing. Think about this. Everything that you just said, coming from being an astute leader in the military, right? Let's not kid everybody that may be listening to this. It's not like you didn't do the same thing while you were in the Navy. Like
Mm.
I appreciate everything that you just said about me on how like what I did and where I went through and what people would come talk to me. I'm gonna tell you right now, they also went down the other way. They went to the opposite side of the hallway to
Yeah.
talk to you because at the same time, that's the beautiful thing on how the military is different than society, I think, in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a sailor or an airman or a marine, whatever it is, when you're in and I see a guy that's been through, like you said, like, not grown up in the best of places or
Mm-hmm.
having to like really work hard to get things or make it out of a hard situation. And then you've got people like me that, I mean, I didn't experience that when I was younger.
Right.
Um, but I got a different look on what it means to help people. So that influence, but then you have a different look of like, if I work hard and get out of here, I'm good.
Right.
And what I liked about being in is everybody appreciated that. Like it was okay to go talk to somebody about, you know, what their struggles were before in life and like how they got through it. And that's the deal. Like you're in for so long, you mentor these kids
Mm-hmm.
that are coming in and I I don't know. I'm sure you still do it, but so do I. I'm looking at Facebook, man. I'm seeing all these kids that are making chief nowadays in the
All
Navy
right. Right.
that are people that I knew or you probably knew as E3s in the Navy, and every one of them we were always like, we're screwed when these guys get older, right?
Right.
Because that's what they said about us,
Right.
right?
Right.
But now you see them and they're making that rank, and then you see them out and about and interact and talk to them, and it's just great to see the progression.
Yeah.
But the thing that's the most rewarding is is that that you can get out and do it. That's kind of my deal,
Mm-hmm.
helping veterans with mortgage loans or buying a home. I also do coaching, but that's right up your alley
Yeah.
because that's what we did.
Yeah.
Like we have to mentor and develop people in order to be successful in the military. And now when you get out, if you don't have that, that's a large piece of you that's
Oh yeah.
missing. It's hard
Oh yeah.
to
Yeah. You
figure that out, but
lost. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
crazy.
I think it's cool, man.
I
When are you going to go take over your next football team and be like, be the man?
yeah. I'm leaning more towards basketball, man.
Hmm.
This year, um, it's crazy. I just found my son Elijah, my oldest son. He just entered the draft. I seen that he had entered the draft. I don't know if he got picked up. I'm pretty sure not at this point.
Really?
But yeah, but just knowing that he's moving like that, man, like he's really out here. He's really doing it, man. I've really seen him. He's working really hard, man. And
So now all you got to do is just create Blake's Ballers.
all
It's the newest AAU program in Houston, Texas. And these
right,
kids go in, they learn, they get
right,
mentored, they get
learning,
trained.
yeah, but
Telling you, man.
yeah, man. Especially with him, man. With him is different because I know, you know, uh, with me being in and being gone for so long, and the thing that I was talking about earlier about not having that, somebody there to get you over the hump. You know what I mean? A lot of times I feel guilt for that because I feel like he had to try to figure that out on his own. You know what I mean? But he
I mean, that's true,
mine.
Scott, but I also remember a lot. And now granted, we did
Right.
over 20 years.
Yeah.
So the block that we were together was 4 or 5,
Hmm.
right? Which is still a long time in a career. It's a quarter of a career. But what I remember, yeah, you may not have been there, man, but I seen a man in you that even though you're not there, nothing else was more important.
Yeah.
Like you called him, you talked, like you may not be there physically,
Yeah.
but if they know your kids or anybody's kids, if they know that they can reach out to you to be able to talk to you when they need it,
Yeah.
that's exactly what they're going to have to do when they grow up and they become adults.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to be in the same place.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It
the
is.
fact that he's making those moves and is successful as he is now, it's not an accident, dude,
Yeah. Yeah.
at
He was a
all.
drive,
It's
man. He got some good drive, but as a
I just need to
father.
get some of them free basketball points. That's all.
Yeah, it's just but as a dad, man, you circumstances come about, man, and you want to have more of you want to have more of an impact. But the military restricts that a lot. You know what I mean? And then like how you talked about just being retired, man, and you look back and you realize like once you don't have it, and you look back at all the time, because like when you're in, you don't really notice the time. You know what I mean? Like things are changing, things are moving, society's still going on without you in there. But then when
Yep.
you're out of that bubble, man, and you have time just to sit back and think, there's a lot of time that's been missed, man. And I look at it on the flip side of it, if I was the civilian person and, my dad was gone for that amount of time or whatever, how would that look? And when I start looking at things that way, man, it kind of changed my perspective to realize, like, what I mean? Yeah, the phone and stuff is good, you know what I mean? Being able to call and stuff like that. But I know, it probably would be more impactful to be, what I mean, to actually put eyes on a person and see it. But,
No,
just,
that's right. But I also know this is you're gonna laugh at this one. I know what school of thought that you kind of come from when it comes to that.
uh,
When it comes to reaching out and touch somebody,
yeah.
you come from that Don Massey school of thought where it's like, hey,
Hmm.
why don't you come on and come
Come
alongside here real
alongside.
quick? And
Right,
like I see a lot of how he would interact with us in Miami and how you did.
yeah,
It wasn't always like I get your point. The phone is great, and I used to see you all the time. Like let's really like I want to look at you while I'm
right,
talking to you.
right.
But I mean, at the same time too, you know, I am sure that when your kids sit around and the conversation about dads or parents or whatever comes up,
Hmm.
it's not a bad conversation.
Yeah,
These are the things my dad did. My dad served his country. My dad, so there's a lot to be proud in there. And when you look back, yeah, you did miss a lot of things, right? We
yeah,
miss by going on deployments. We miss by, the long work hours they had to be in. The chosen profession that we had was to help kids, join.
yeah.
There's probably some part of that where I look back and maybe you can say that you mentored other people's kids more than your own.
Right, right, right.
But I mean, in order to keep the country free and for us to have the freedom that we do today, it was part of what needed to be
Right. It's
done.
part of what you got to do.
And
Right.
so, yeah, we do it, but you know,
Yeah.
you can't make up for lost time. But what you can do is you can continue to be who you are
Mhm.
and enjoy the time you have left. Right? That's the other part.
Right, right. And I think
Yeah.
in that instance too, I think sometimes we're our worst critic when it comes to, what our expectation is on ourselves, what I mean, to put out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially when you're always striving to be better, you know what I mean? And when you're conscious
Yeah.
about being better, you always think and say, is there more I could have done? Or could I have done more of this or more of that? So I think sometimes that happens, you know what I mean? So that's why I don't really feel like it's a really a bad thing, but it's
Oh, you're always gonna wish you had moments
right,
back.
right, right,
I mean, you're always going to do that. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you shouldn't look at it that way because you know what? Those aren't my kids. They're not, it's not me personally feeling that. I can tell you that I feel like you did an amazing job and I feel like you did everything that you needed to do to show whoever it was that you
right,
cared. But again, That's your opinion for what you do, and who can tell you that you're wrong? And I think right now, if look at society and the world, like for anyone to say, "Oh, that's your opinion, it's good," like nowadays, sometimes it's bad. But um, again, when you're in that military culture of where we were,
Hmm.
we were taught and we learned just through, and just call it as it is, being a chief petty officer in the United States Navy, that you run below you and you develop above you.
Hmm.
And if you ever make it about you and you ever take
Yeah.
anything personal, then we're not
Right.
successful and we don't move forward. And I can't count on two hands or 50 hands how many people I met and worked with in the Navy that would take things ultra personal.
Right.
And that one moment of thinking that a situation was because someone didn't like them or they were being treated unfairly was very detrimental to the rest of their career, because they couldn't recover from it, because from that point they were thinking it was all against them. And it's almost like you forgot about all of that humble pie that you had to eat
Right.
in order to develop and become the leader that you were in the Navy. And it was amazing to me. And I think if you think about it, that culture shift happened as the culture shift now is happening. You're seeing that come in. And I look at all the faces. I remember being a chief in the Navy, serving, ripping, running, and you would look at the Facebook groups, right?
Yeah.
And something would come out in the Navy, right? And these old timers on Facebook or wherever they were, like, "Oh, what's going on with the world
Right.
today?"
Right. Right.
And I would be like, "What these guys have? They're so disconnected. Like, you have no idea what that means, how it works, or how it runs."
Hmm.
And even if you tried to have the conversation with those dudes, man, they would be like, "You don't know what you're talking about." It was almost like helping a veteran or active duty member's child join the military, and they tell you when they joined 15 years ago, "I know you can just make a phone call and get a job." When people believe what they believe and people have gone through what they've gone through, it's hard for them to change their thinking, right?
Hmm.
That's why I am grateful that I made it just to be the level of a chief in the Navy, because it taught me to look broader than myself.
Right.
And so it it all equals into that. Like, you can't look at one thing over another. You can't you just honestly, you can't have a personal opinion.
Right.
You really need to look at it from a higher level, almost like you're in the Doctor Strange movie, the dude punched you in the chest and then you come out of your body and you can kind of look at what's going on in the room. You
Right.
kind of have to do that, because
Yeah.
if you don't, far too often you make assumptions, or you make the wrong decision, or you judge what's going on unfairly. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I'm sure once you go into the next venture, right? You go into coaching, you go into helping kids, you go to mentoring kids, the level of experience and credibility that you have coming from that, man, whatever kid and whatever family gets into your program, I'm telling you right now, like, it's going to change their life.
Yeah. That's the goal, man. That's what you want, man.
Yeah, for sure,
That's
man,
what you
for
want.
sure.
Even when I first got here to Texas, man, and I was coaching. I have my boys are on my team too, man. But just seeing real quick, man. I had a young kid, man, and he wasn't very athletic at all, man. But his mom, you could tell, his mom just wanted him to get into something. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
he a little out of shape, and he was super shy, man. And you got all these kids running around, and he was like, man, the first couple of days, he was looking at his mom like, "There's no way I'm gonna be able to do this." But man, we just pulled him along. And I told my boys, I said, "Man, we gotta get him. We gotta get him better, man. We gotta." You know what I mean? This is our teammate. You know what I mean? I'll use that whole thing. We're only as strong as our weakest link. Not saying he's the weakest
Yep.
one, but we got to get him. You know what I mean? We got to get him to grasp this thing. And I mean, he was be the first one to practice, man. I remember one day he comes into practice, man, and he's got these new shoes on. And I mean, man, when I saw him with them new shoes on, I knew he was serious. Like I knew he was all the way in, ready to get busy, man. Because it's like he stepped in the gym different with these shoes on, right?
Yeah, he walked into
Uh,
the dispersing office with his khakis on for
yeah.
the first time and went to the front of the line, and they
Right,
were
right.
like, "Hey, chief," you're like, "Oh,
Oh
it
man.
really works." Yeah, man.
Yeah, so we got him, man.
Yep.
our last game that we played, because normally I would put him in and he'd run around and play defense, but he really wasn't trying to shoot the ball at all. So the last game we played, man, it's like, man, everybody has scored that game except for him. We're like, man, we gotta get him. We gotta get him to score. So everybody was like purposely trying to give him the ball to get him to shoot it. He passed it where he wouldn't shoot it. Well, he shot the
Yeah.
ball one time, man. It went up and it rolled around and it rolled. And it seemed like it took forever, but it didn't go in. It came out. But just the whole point, like he shot the ball, even though he didn't make it. Everybody was so excited that he shot it and it almost went in. It's just like, just that whole boost, man. And he just like,
You would have thought he hit a 3 at the buzzer to win
right,
the
right.
NBA championship.
We
Yeah,
were,
and
we were
I'm
already
telling you,
up.
man,
Yeah, we were already up. We
it's
were already
important.
winning, but everybody just, just to see how he came from that to where it was just a thing where like he
Yeah.
was like everybody on the team just really wanted him to get it. You know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff that makes it cool, man.
For
At the
sure.
end of the day,
For
that
sure.
makes it cool. So I'm sure he's probably playing basketball somewhere now. But I think that
Mm-hmm.
just that little moment, is what he needed to just get his confidence up enough to know that he does have what it takes. You know what I mean, to do something. He's got to put a little work behind it. So, those
Yeah.
are the things, man,
Well,
that make me motivated to get up and go do it. I want to see
for sure. The
almost
biggest thing that I realized too, like I'm not the sport that I tend to default to a lot is because it's the one that my son plays, but the one that a lot of people don't know about when you look at
every.
the sport of lacrosse, right?
Right.
I'm not a lacrosse player.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not I've never played. I've never, been in it. But what I know how to do
Motivate.
is I know how to build a team and
Mm-hmm.
motivate people.
Right. Exactly.
And so I'll go in to help, and it's sports, man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how to run the pick and roll? You know how to play lacrosse. Do you
Right.
know how to run a give and go in
Right.
soccer? You know how to play
Right.
lacrosse.
Right.
Do you know how to throw a baseball? You can shoot. Like it's all mechanics.
Right. Right.
But the biggest thing that I run into is when I go coach a team, you said something just now that made me go, man, that's exactly how I do it.
Right. Right. Right.
And I know it's because it's what we were taught. You are only as strong as your weakest link,
Right.
right?
Right.
So what that means is it doesn't matter like who is or isn't on the team. It doesn't matter who's scoring all the points. It
Right.
doesn't matter who's awesome. We're not here to sign $1 million
Right.
contract. Like we're here to help these young kids develop and blossom into productive individuals,
Right.
right?
Right.
So what happens is I go onto the field and I do that. You know what? You're going to laugh at this. So I got a whole team of high schoolers, seventh, eighth graders. It really doesn't matter. First day of practice. We're going to practice like we play, right?
Mm-hmm.
PT, I want you to do the PT like it's the PRT.
Right.
And then, you make your jokes about people that have great PRT scores and they couldn't, and it doesn't matter. We'll get into that later.
Right.
But then we go to further from that. Once we start moving along, then we bring the entire team up and I tell them, next practice, you guys are going to go in a corner and you're going to pick the captains, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's like, oh, the captains. So the kids pick the captains.
Mm-hmm.
So then I get my captains, right? It's your selectees. I guess you could call it that.
Right.
So I tell the captains, everything's on you now.
Right.
It's all on you.
Right.
I'm not going to little Johnny if he doesn't get it. I'm coming to you.
Right.
And so these kids that are in 7th and 8th grade, it is so amazing to see an 11, a 12, or a 13-year-old kid, even call it a 16-year-old kid in high school that's never really been put in that position.
Right.
You really see how eager people are to develop. Because then I'm telling you, I don't care if he's at practice or not, but you better.
Oh, yeah.
You better know why he's not here. I want you to know why he's not going to make it.
Right.
I want you to start practice. I shouldn't walk up to PT and ask why we're not started yet. Right? Like I should walk up to practice and we're already warming up. So you're teaching these kids to lead their peers.
Right.
And then what you find is it's always the kids that are always out front that everybody thinks is amazing that they make the captains. And half the time, those kids are the ones that are the least willing to stand up in front of people and lead them.
Right.
They're really good at what they do.
Right.
But they just haven't been given that. And so now these kids are leading people, and then the kids under them, it's amazing to see how leadership turns into followership, and how their followership helps the team develop and they come together. And parents come up and they're like, man, we've never been this good before. And I'm like, yeah, you have.
Yeah.
These kids have always been this
Right.
good.
Right.
Here's the difference. The difference is we had one kid that was awesome, so we had him do everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't play like that.
Right.
I don't care. Like just you just said,
Right.
this kid hasn't scored a point all game. He needs to score.
Right.
We've got kids that they play every game. I don't care what the situation is.
Right.
Like, it's tell me if I'm wrong. In basketball, you got the really good players, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got the kid on the team that everybody thinks they're brand new or they're just learning and they're not as good as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You have the same in every sport. In the sports that I'm a part of, the superstar can go ahead and look to pass to the kid because they're open and then decide to do it on their own. But you're
Right.
going to find yourself sitting on the
Oh,
bench
yeah.
and hanging out with
Right.
me
Right.
because that kid deserves the opportunity too. Like,
Right.
we're not making $1 million,
Right.
but you have to understand at seventh and eighth grade, at sixth grade, it
Right.
starts young.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to rely on people one day in your life.
Right.
And if you can't do that here on the field, then how can we expect you to be the person that leads our country to the future? Whether you're a finance guy, a military guy, a real estate agent, a secretary in an office, like how can we rely on you to make society move forward if we can't teach you that you're going to have to rely on somebody? And the beautiful thing about sports is that it doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
who you are, where you're from, what you look like, nothing. What matters is we're in this battle right now
Right.
and we all need to work together to win. And that's why I love coaching youth sports, man.
Yeah.
Because you can teach these kids that it's okay to work together and it's crazy. The more close they get together,
Right.
like you'll beat even the best skilled teams
Mm-hmm.
because they work together.
They
Oh,
work
dude, it's
together.
great. I love coaching youth
Man,
sports,
oh
man. It's
man, I can
fun.
tell, man. I can hear it in your voice. And I look at it. So, quick example. I remember, man, when LeBron James passed the ball to the corner to Ray Allen for the three. And you hear everybody afterwards talking about, oh, he can't step up and shoot the big shot. Man, listen, at the end of the day, LeBron James, if he would have shot that shot and missed, it would have been the same thing on the other side. Oh, he should have had somebody wide
He
open. He's
chokes.
selfish. The whole thing is so you realize, man, that you're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't in some instances. But one thing I do say, and the reason why I do like LeBron James is because he doesn't make everything all about him. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
okay to pass. Basketball is a team sport, man. If you want to be an individual, you do boxing. You know what I mean? Take up boxing, man.
Yeah.
Take up MMA.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why be on a football team with 11 men on the field and it's all about one person? You know what I mean? Tom
Yeah.
Brady, as great as he is, I love him. He's a team player. That's the reason why he can go anywhere and make people win. He doesn't
Yep.
have. I mean, not to change this whole thing in sports, but I look at the New England Patriots, man, and not to go into a black and white thing, but I think they probably had the least amount of black players on their team, but they were the damn best team because it wasn't about this person, that person, that it was about the team. They had the team
Yeah.
spirit, man, and they were champions back to back to back.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, it just goes into the perception of what great players
Right,
are and what talent is, right? Like
exactly.
talent is having the best skilled players, the highest draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
What Tom Brady knows is if I have this person run the same route 3,000 times, when
Right.
it's time for him to run the route in the game, he knows exactly where the ball's going because that's exactly where he put it in practice. And if you scheme it correctly, that's what I mean. Like
Right.
coaching youth sports too. It starts from the lowest levels all the way to the pros. And I tell kids that on the field all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are angry because we're doing a basic pass it to him so he can catch it and pass it back to you.
Right.
To you, that's boring because we're not like in the
Doing
basketball
fantasy,
equivalent. We're not shooting threes and we're not, pick and roll and, we're not pulling the trampoline out to do a dunk contest or whatever, right? When you're at the smallest level.
Yeah.
But if you don't realize guys like Tom Brady, guys like, Russell Wilson, guys
Mm-hmm.
like Drew Brees, who just retired, guys like Michael Irvin back in the day,
Right.
guys like Emmitt Smith, those guys, hours of practice.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just running,
Jerry
running
Rice.
and cutting,
Yeah.
running and cutting.
Right.
That's all they did because they wanted to be an expert at the
crap.
stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And right now, we want to be awesome at the stuff everybody sees because we think That's what's going to get
Right.
us
Right.
paid.
Right.
Well, newsflash, it took a lot of failure,
Yeah.
it took a lot of effort, it took a lot of work, and it took a lot of sacrifice for any of those people that you see playing on Sunday or even Saturday. No matter where you're from, no matter where you live, no matter what you're doing,
Mhm.
there's a lot of players that go to college sports in this country that are trying to get out of a bad situation, right? Not to put anything
Right.
into one side against another,
Right.
but there's a ton of kids that sport is the only way they're going to get
Right.
out.
That's the only way
Well,
out.
the only way to get out is to bust your tail.
Right.
There's no other way to do it. And so, yeah, any of these individuals may be from a bad place or a bad situation and not have a good upbringing. And there's a lot of, you can look at everything they put on TV, lots of crime, murder, drugs, whatever.
Mhm.
But you know what? That one kid that you're talking to on the TV right now, what got him out of that is not that situation.
Mhm.
What got him out is his drive and his work ethic to want to be different than what he sees around him.
Right.
And so when they get out of there, it's because of their hard work. And so that's what, you try to portray to kids. Like, you don't have to be the best. You just have to be the hardest working,
Right.
and,
Yeah.
and it's, again, sports analogies are great to how life is, right? Because, like I tell, Cole all the time, and I've told lots of kids, and I tell anybody that'll listen, I think sports in school is the most important thing that a kid can
Mhm.
do.
Mhm.
And it's not because they're going to make $1 million. And it's not because it makes them run around and do like physical exercise. Because what happens is your coach might be a butthole and
Right.
you hate him. You hate your coach,
Right.
but you have to play for him.
Right.
There's other kids on your team that think they're better than you. So they're going to treat you a certain kind of way and say that you suck or that
Mhm.
you shouldn't be here,
You got to
or they're
fight
going to
through it.
discount you.
Right.
But you have to learn to work with them because
Mhm.
you're on the same team. And then there's going to be those kids that aren't good at all, that never get to play, that do all the devious things to try to get over and manipulate and get to the top. And you're going to have to work and play with them. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter who or what you are. You have to learn to be a team.
Right.
The only way we succeed is together,
Right.
period. There is absolutely no success in this world, in this life, culturally, demographically, country wise, nothing. There's no success unless we're together.
Right.
Individually, we're always going to fail.
Oh
And it
yeah.
always happens that way. And so I think that that's why sports is so important. And I think some of I don't know, I've never lived in a state or a city that they didn't keep score in games. I'm from Texas. Like, they're always going to keep score,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? It's always competitive, but the fact that you sit down and tell everybody they're great all the time is it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, people are going to hear this and I'm probably going to get, ransacked, but it is a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing because you don't have to be good at everything.
Right.
You don't have to feel like you're good at everything. It's okay to be told, yeah, I don't think that's going to work out for you. You might want to try something different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there is something for everyone.
Mhm.
But if everyone feels they're great at everything and I can do whatever I want, that's where we're at right now.
Right. But you need that too.
Like,
You need that criticism, man, because like I tell my boys are trash talkers, especially the littlest one. Austin is a trash talker, man. So my neighbor across the street, you know what I mean? He got some basketball going across the street, man. He's kind of shy kid. But my son goes over there, and I mean he's talking trash. So I had to tell his dad, I like, I apologize for myself. He's like, no, he needs it. And I thought about it. I said, you know what? It's one of those things, man, because it's the momentum. If somebody tells you, hey man, you suck, right? And then you hear that. So you're going to feel a kind of way, right? So then you say,
yep,
okay, you think
yep,
I suck? It's going to make you work harder. Because now the only way
yeah,
to shut you up is you told me I suck. So if you telling me I suck and I beat you, then what does that mean you are? So now you know what I mean? It flips it around. So I think that's good. You know what I mean? Because that's what I do with my boy. Like, man, you ain't good, man. You know what I'm saying? I'll race him in the street and I don't let him win. You know what I mean? I don't do none of that. I give him the whole business. When we do pushing
yes,
challenges, if you do 50, I'm doing 60. If you do 60, I'm doing 80. I'm not going to let you win. But it builds them up to where they have to be like, you know what? I got to beat my dad. I got to get, you know what I mean? And I think that's good. So
yeah,
if I all the time tell them, oh, buddy, you did one push up. You're great, man. Great job. Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? They're going to think they did something with one push up until they see the kid that does 50. You know what I mean? I want them to see the kid that does 50 because you need to do 51. If you want to be better than him, do 51. You know what I mean?
yep,
So I think that
No,
that's
for sure.
good, man. I mean, you have
That's
to have
healthy competition
right. It's
too.
healthy,
That's the
right?
healthy part of it. What
Exactly.
we see, or what I see anyway, a lot of times, so we stay on all of that, like coaching youth sports.
Right. Right.
I coach a lot of kids in a sport.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is, if you're in sixth, seventh, eighth, even up to 10th grade, I don't know what you think you know, but there ain't no college coaches out here looking at you
Right.
in seventh grade. You're
Right.
not going to get a scholarship
Right.
today. I know that you might have heard that happen from somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe it could be true, but the reality is, ain't no college coaches out here.
Right.
You don't have to play travel ball every season and be on the best travel teams all the
Right.
time
Right.
so that your kid
That's
can
not
be
a
the best.
VIP ticket,
And
right?
so, right, there's and full disclosure, I've been a parent that's lived through my kid before because I was so excited for what he was doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A little bit of me got a little more enamored into it than he did, right?
Mm-hmm.
It happens.
Mm-hmm.
But what I realized really quickly, if you look around, is a ton of these parents are being sold things by these programs too.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, you come to us, we know college
Right.
coaches.
Yeah.
I think AAU is a really good example of that.
Mm-hmm.
In Houston, like travel lacrosse is a good example of that. People just think because someone is from a certain place and they say they know someone, then they're going to automatically get that. And so you see the drive a lot of times of the parent to be successful
Yeah.
over the kid, right?
Yeah. For sure.
And so that turns into the opposite of what you just said. You see
Mm-hmm.
that kid did 50, you need to do 51.
Right.
I don't care how he got there.
Right.
I don't care how hard he works to get there. But if you want to be like or better than him, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to have to work harder. That means you
Yeah.
need to go do it now.
Right.
And what happens most times now is I see parents are like, well, they didn't feel good today, or that kid just gets all the opportunities because of his parents, or that kid, what it doesn't matter. They turn it into some reason why their kid just didn't have a good day, but they're really way better than they should be. And
Mm-hmm.
so now you're teaching your kid to make an excuse for not playing hard, make an excuse for not practicing hard, make an excuse for why you're not going to get it. And
Mm-hmm.
so what that turns into is, why am I not always getting the handout? You can't, life isn't handouts, man.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's hard. Man, I'm sure to have those conversations with parents sometimes is very, very hard.
Oh yeah. Oh
But
yeah. It's
I am
tough.
so glad that the Navy put me through Chief Petty Officer Initiation,
Oh
because the
yeah.
conversations are
Right.
actually kind of easy
Yeah. Because it's
for
like
someone like us to have it with them, because it's,
yeah.
listen, I know you think your kid's great, and I do too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but they're not the best player in the team.
Right.
And here's the other part: even if they were, we don't give special
Right.
treatment here.
Right.
Everybody's the same. And so I have a lot of parents that are always like, oh, my kid learned so much this year. And there's times where you're like, I know why. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Because you sat that kid down and said, stop listening to everybody else. When you're
Mm-hmm.
here inside these four lines, where these nets are, where these basketball goals are, inside of this mecca, right? You are in our gladiator arena.
Mm-hmm.
You don't listen to nobody else. I'm the one here to help you get through this next 60 minutes.
Right.
That 60 minutes translates out to other things. And so that's the part also that is like, it's just amazing, dude, to
Mm-hmm.
see the change, but it's also amazing to see the dynamic of where it comes from. How many kids have you ever seen come to your practice and go, I know who their parents are? And you've never even met the kid. You don't even know the kid. You're like,
Yeah.
I know who your parents are.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. You gotta be.
In both good and bad ways.
Yeah.
It just, maybe the time we spent in the Navy having to mentor and teach people made us have to be very aware of how people were.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had to be able to read people. You had to know if the guy was not acting themselves or the girl wasn't acting herself today, so that you knew to go up and say, hey, is everything okay? Because you're not really acting the way that you normally do.
Right.
And you had to do that for 150, 200, 300 people. It's amazing at how much they expected of us to do, and it was amazing that we were able to do it.
Right.
And again, that's why we're competition in the job market, man. So that's why you should just do your own thing.
Yeah. So tell me, Matt, now with this, now that you're in it, all the way in it, dived in, you in the water. How is this
Mm-hmm.
real estate thing going for you? Like, you know what I mean? Where would you rate it as far as, things that you've done in your life. I know the military has been the high point, but I mean, do you see yourself doing this long term? You see yourself running around with it for a little bit, or you know what I mean? Like, what
So
is Matt? What is Matt's mind geared to? Like, where do you see yourself like hitting your niche and being in your full groove?
so the niche was given to me over 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. We are the most underserved and and assisted population on the planet.
Right.
What I mean by that, the real estate part of it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Now going into doing the mortgage part of it even better. And the reason I say that is uh, I'm in it for the long haul, dude. I'm not doing anything else because what I get to do is I get to talk to veterans every day.
Right.
I get to talk to a Vietnam era veteran and say, hey, why don't you use your VA benefits to buy a home? And that Vietnam era benefit veteran goes, I can't use it again. I've used it once. Well, that's not
Oh,
true.
that's
You
not
can use
true.
it more than once.
Right.
I would love to buy a house in California, but I'm limited on how much I can spend. And then you teach them that they're not going to do that.
Right.
We are really great as a service to teach you how to get the job done. We send you
Mm-hmm.
to boot camp to learn how to become a sailor, soldier, marine, or an airman, how to fall in line, how to be on time,
Mm-hmm.
how to be respectful, and how to be accountable to what you need to do, right?
Right.
Then we send you to your job for your school. And when
Mm-hmm.
we send you to that school job, then you learn how to do what we want you to do. We give you a good overview.
Mm-hmm.
But where we're better than the civilian world is you really don't learn what you need to know how to do until you get there. Once you start working on all this stuff and it starts to break and you don't know what's going on, you have to get mentored and taught from the people around you. We're
Right.
very, very good at teaching each other.
Right.
And when we're done doing that, and we've given everything we could to the country, and it's time for us to ride off to the sunset and do our own thing, we're really bad at teaching
Yeah.
ourselves
Yeah.
what benefits are out there for us. I mean, you go to the teach like so the only realm I deal in right now is homes. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But what I know is just through all the classes we do, I mean, there's 26 million Americans that can use their VA loan. That they earn the benefit. They
Right.
can use it. Like one to two, maybe 3% use it.
True.
What happened to the other 24 million people? A lot of them don't know. A lot of them have no idea. There's a lot of people running around right now that have service connected disability from the military and call it 100%. If you live in the state of Texas, you don't pay property tax.
Right.
Also, you're making enough money in some cases to go buy a townhouse
Right.
and own a home
Right. So
because you have the money to do it from what you've gotten from your
right.
military service. But people don't know that. So my niche, that's where I'm at. It's
Nice.
right into from helping people learn how to recruit and sell and do all those things to be successful to help recruit people to join the Navy. That's what I did the last 7 years. I've transitioned completely into that on the outside, which is why we're doing what we're doing right now, Scott.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We went from talking about coaching youth sports and how it's going to help society in the future to talking about whatever to talking about now getting out of the military. It is veterans helping veterans at the end of the day. The fact that we get to sit here for about an hour and BS,
Right.
it's meaningful to other people like us because other people like us don't have that perception, right? So my long haul is this. This is what I'm doing. That's why I started doing a podcast. That's why I wanted to do this thing. You always felt like you had a voice and you always felt like you had information to give people.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is, I don't feel like I have a message to give people. I just like to talk a lot.
Right.
And so, because I like to talk a lot,
Or why
then I
not?
can sit down and talk to you, and it always winds up helping someone,
Yeah.
right? If we can help one person, we used to say this all the time. If I can just help one person today,
Yeah.
everything was worth it, right? If I can help this one person get promoted, if I see this one person get an award, I'm good. I don't need any more recognition than that. I don't need you to come tell me I did a good job. I don't need you to give me any kind of love. I just need to see that the people around me are successful and they've attained that. And so that's what I'm going forward to do.
Yeah.
The real estate side of what I did is really now small in compared to what I'm doing full time. Full time, I'm doing loans and helping veterans buy houses through the lending part of it. Because the reality to that so many lenders don't know how to take people through this VA loan journey that they get to the end of the closing table and they're getting screwed over and they're losing their homes
Yeah.
because they don't pull the certificate of eligibility up front. They don't look and go, okay, this veteran's getting out of the military in 9 months. You know what that
Right.
means? I can't use their active duty money. Do you have a job lined up?
Right.
If you don't, we need to wait. No, they wait till the closing table to kind of be like, oh, my bad, it's not going to work.
Right.
You're a like you carry a professional license. So you should professionally
Right.
know that this is how it's done.
Right.
But the reality, they just don't. And they don't, I don't, it's infuriating sometimes,
Yeah.
man. On the stories you hear from people and you know, and the worst part is when you talk to older people, senior citizen people
Mm-hmm.
that are getting taken advantage
And
of,
then take
that all they needed to do is use the VA loan.
right.
Like you get Social Security and disability, you get your military retirement, and you get disability. Why are you paying mortgage insurance on a house?
Right.
I don't understand.
Right.
So for me, the reach to be in across the country or the world, really, because you got veterans everywhere, is far bigger than just, you know, helping someone purchase a home in one city. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. You know, I love helping people do that too, but I still get to do that because I work with realtors all over the city.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always am looking. I talk to you like, when are you going to get your butt up and get this thing done, man?
Yeah.
Because the personality that you have and the ability that you have to connect with people and the ability that you have to show people you're here to help is what is missing in that real estate industry. You see it with your wife every day.
Yeah.
She's just like, she's here to help people.
Yeah.
There's not enough people like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, most people come into real estate because they think it's
Money.
going to be
Yeah. They're
easy.
going to get rich overnight and
Yeah.
everything else.
And then they wind up making bad decisions and
Right.
people are losing thousands of dollars. And it still amazes me that they keep getting people to help. It's like,
Right.
it's like, how do you find these people to help when I'm out here, like, really, you know, it's weird. It's
Yeah.
weird. You can't explain it,
Yeah.
but all you got to do is keep your head down, eyes forward, and keep going towards the prize, man. That's
Yep.
what you got to do.
I use the analogy that I got from Hamilton, man. I learned now to talk less and smile more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't.
For sure.
I slow down my Facebook and Instagram stuff. I don't put a lot of traffic on there, man. I just enjoy.
You need to pick that back up if you're going to come be a realtor, buddy. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, right now, there's a lot of people that are really good at doing that kind of stuff. And that's how some of these people are picking their real estate agent. And the reality is that realtor that got really good at Facebook
Right.
advertising has
Right.
been a realtor for 2 months. And now
Right.
they're going to go do a $1.5 million loan and they're not going to know what they're doing. And I chose you because I was looking at social media.
Right.
So we need the good people on there.
Yeah.
You know what? That's funny because I do remember now. That's funny you say that because I used to remember a weekly driving in the truck, a live 10-minute of Scott Blake just telling me about something he was thinking about that day.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I you just like I haven't seen it in a long time,
Yeah.
so that
I'm
makes
gonna do it
sense.
back.
You've been hiding,
Back
dude.
out there, man. I just want to put some little sessions of good music out there, man, because I love it. So
So that's the other piece going in for you. So I know what is. So tell me a couple of the things that you're into right now,
mhm.
and what can people do to help support you in those?
So right now, man, I mean, you know, I'm always available to DJ. Uh, Go DJ Royalty at gmail.com is my website. You can go there, find me there. But that's mainly my niche now. I'm taking my real estate exam this next week. We get into that, and you know that's pretty much it for me, man. I mean, I'm
So for everybody listening, if you really want your party to hit and you want to have a real good time, you need to call DJ Royalty because he will pull your ass out of the crowd and make you dance on the dance floor.
exactly
And
right.
you won't know that you got pulled out of the crowd, but you're gonna have a great time
That's
because
right.
you know, like we're doing something together on October the 9th.
That's right. October 9th.
They got a barbecue cook-off at the VFW. We're doing a cornhole tournament. And so here's what's crazy. They're building a stage at that VFW. So the other day they asked me, "Do you think the DJ would like to be on the stage?" I'm like, "What?"
Absolutely.
If you tell Scott Blake he gets to be on a stage as a DJ like he's at a concert, I'm not going to be able to talk to that dude for like a week.
Going down. Yeah. So
Oh, and then I told them that's where the cornhole tournament needs to be.
yeah,
They're going to do award. Like I'm like, you need to make it like a, you know,
right.
you need to make a complete experience out of it, and that's what we're going to do.
That's what we're gonna do. Yeah. So
Yeah, man,
you're looking forward. Hit me up, man. I'm always available. And I look forward to it. But this here, Matt, is great,
for sure.
man. I'm glad you hit me up, man. I've been wanting to do this. This is my
Yeah.
first official podcast, man. I'm feeling like a celebrity right now. You know what I mean? I love
Hey, and you are. You know why?
this.
You're a celebrity because you served our
Oh
country.
man,
So everybody that sees that should be thanking you for your service. You know, we thank people for throwing balls and hitting balls all the time, and we a lot of times they're legends, right? And kids look up to them. But
yeah.
I'm still that believer, man. Like you, the only reason they get to do that is because you did what you did,
And you
and
did
so
what you
you're
did.
also a celebrity, man. You're a legend.
Yeah. So and then the other thing, man, the message to the world is we need each other, man. This whole
Yep.
segregation, man, white, black, whatever it is, man, we all need each other. We got to learn to love the day. Tomorrow's
Yeah,
not
man.
promised.
It's a phase, right? We go through phases like that in the world, and I
Yeah,
think we'll get through this one, but I think it's going to take a little bit of change and a little bit more understanding for people, to finally, come around to it. It just the reality is it's in such small pockets that it
right,
exists. The majority of us are not that way, but it
right,
just happens
right.
that
Exactly.
you know how it goes, man.
Yeah,
If you put the right stuff on the right place, people will lose their mind.
exactly.
But don't worry. Scott Blake's going to have a get together in the world concert, and everybody's going to be
Right.
happy.
All right.
Like it just we got to keep doing what we do, and
Yeah,
if we keep doing what we do, maybe people see it and they take inspiration from it. Maybe they don't.
yeah.
Um, and if they don't, that's fine. You're welcome. I served 22 and a half years so that you could make that
Right.
decision.
Yeah.
And I also made the decision to do what I'm doing. So
Right.
it's, I think respect needs to be learned again in the country about what people want to do and how they want to be and what they want to have.
Hmm.
On top of that, I think respecting someone's decisions should also be respected if I don't agree with your
Right.
decision.
We agree to
It's
this.
got to go both
Right.
ways.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I
But yeah,
love you,
man,
brother, man, and like I said, man.
we're going to do this again,
Okay.
right? The next time we do it, it'll be fun again, but like it's not the last time you and I are going to talk
For
on here.
sure.
I can promise you that.
For sure.
Um, I can't wait to hear about you're the one at the Texans games DJing like Stevie Aoki was at the Raiders games the other day,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then just seeing how far it goes, man. I know that the future is bright for you, and things are moving along. And again, Scott Blake, thank you so much.
Man.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you,
It's
bro.
always love, brother, man. Good to see you, man. You're looking good.
For sure, bro. Yeah, you too, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. We'll talk.